The cool night air of Judea was a shock to David's senses, a stark contrast to the sterile hum of his time machine. He checked the chronometer on his wrist. 30 AD, give or take a few hours. The rolling hills were a patchwork of dark shadows under a sky so thick with stars it felt heavy, a celestial blanket he'd only ever seen in textbooks. He moved silently, his high-tech boots crunching on ancient soil, the sound muffled by a deep sense of unreality. He had studied the location meticulously, a spot just outside a small village where the records indicated a charismatic teacher would be speaking. He found the gathering easily, a small cluster of people huddled around a man whose silhouette was outlined by the flickering light of a single lantern. David kept his distance, a deliberate 20 feet or so, just close enough to observe, to confirm what he had traveled so far to see. The man was speaking in hushed, yet resonant tones, his voice a melodic flow of Aramaic that David's translation implants rendered perfectly. He spoke of love, of forgiveness, of a kingdom not of this world. David watched, a silent ghost from the future, his heart pounding with a mixture of awe and fear. Then as the speaker paused, he turned his head. It was an impossible movement, a direct gaze through the crowd, through the shadows, straight at David. The speaker's eyes, even from 20 feet away, held a light that seemed to pierce the darkness, to strip away the pretense of David's temporal displacement. The world went silent. The gentle murmur of the crowd, the rustle of the wind, the crackle of the lantern, all gone. All that remained was a stillness so profound it felt like the very fabric of time had paused. And then, a voice echoed inside David's mind, not in his ears, but in a place far deeper, a part of him that he didn't know existed. It was clear and calm, and carried with it the weight of an eternal knowing. You're not supposed to be here, child. The words were a gentle reprimand, a loving decree. The voice was everywhere and nowhere, a whisper in his soul that brought him to his knees. The moment held, frozen in time, the gaze of the carpenter and the ghost from the future, a shared secret under a blanket of impossible stars. Suddenly, a blinding flash engulfed David. It wasn't the familiar hum and shimmer of his time machine engaging, but something far more immediate, more absolute. He felt a wrenching sensation, as if the very atoms of his body were being pulled and reformed. The scent of dust in ancient earth was replaced by the sterile tang of ozone. The profound silence gave way to the steady thrum of his laboratory's environmental controls. He found himself back in the control chair of his temporal displacement unit, the complex array of screens glowing around him. The date display on his console showed his present day, his present time. He was home. The journey back had been instantaneous, effortless, and utterly without his control. He was left alone in the dark, a single tear of pure, impossible truth tracing a path down his cheek, the memory of that voice echoing in the silent expanse of his own time, a permanent imprint on his soul. He looked around his lab, the familiar surroundings now alien, his journey a secret he would carry, a moment of profound intervention from a source he could only begin to comprehend.